Hello and welcome. I'm Ashley from Yoga for That and founder of the Live a Better program. Today's coaching call is our second coaching call of February, and all of February's coaching calls will be live and open. So if you do want to share them with anyone, please do. If you're not a member and you're in the Facebook group, these videos will be up forever. It won't be a 1 week limited video. You can have access to these ones, and you can still join the Live Better program and have access for the month of February and see the rest of the program. It's not a reoccurring fee. You won't be automatically charged. You don't have to input your credit card information or anything like that. So you can join for February, access all the content, splurge on the content, and see if this program is right for you. Again, I am working on a 90-day Live Better program. I don't remember right now when my launch date is going to be. I think it's the start of April, so watch out for that. And as a Live Better member, so if you do decide to join after doing the trial, you will get a highly discounted price on the 90-day program and early access. So watch out for that. You can also join my newsletter. So if you want to be on my newsletter, let me know. I'll add you to that as well. So you'll continue to get information if you're not able to watch the videos or get access to that information any other way. Having a newsletter or receiving the newsletter is a great way to stay connected with me. Social media, I know, like Facebook, sometimes you'll see posts from like days before instead of seeing them right when they happen. So with the newsletter, you'll get access to the information right as it's delivered into your inbox. This week's coaching call is all about setting and sticking to a budget. Last year, I really tried to get on track with a budget, and just trying to be better and more mindful of my spending. And now that we are looking to buy a home, we do have to be even more careful with our budget, just in terms of where our money is going. At least knowing where it's going is key. So, the way that I set out my budget, and I will share my screen with you in a moment. The way I set out my budget is there's a guy named Dave Ramsey, um, and he has, I don't remember what his system is called. The idea is that 50% of your income goes to your like must pay for. So your rent or your mortgage, any bills that you have, groceries, entertainment, basically like your living situation. And then 30% of your money goes towards savings and all that kind of stuff, like RSPs, rainy day funds, all those. And then 20% goes to debt repayment. Okay. So if you don't have any debt repayment, you could either split that 20%. So 10 more would go to your savings and then 10 to your living expenses, or all to your living expenses or all to your savings, however you want to play it. So that's something I've been really focusing on since, well, I was doing it last year, but now I've really been focusing on it for 2021. I will share my screen with you. All right, so I never know how much of this everyone can see. I start with my budget breakdown. So I go with bi-weekly, so I get paid every other week. So it ends up, I think, being like 26 paychecks. So dividing your income by 12 months, it's going to be a little bit different for a couple months because I know some months I get paid 3 times. So it's going to look a little bit different for those months. So what I do is I do my my bi-weekly, so how much I'm getting paid every other week. So every paycheck that comes in, I'll put that amount here. So say it's like $1,000, right? I have my Visa payment that I put down, say it's like $100, savings, my cell phone bill, my joint. So what my husband and I do is we have a set amount of money that we put in each paycheck, and that covers the mortgage, the car insurance, all the bills, all the groceries, going out to eat, entertainment, everything like that. So we both share equally in those costs. So if I was getting paid $1,000, I would put in $500. Okay. My cell phone bill, say it's like $50. Okay, so you can kind of see from that pay, I now have $500 going into the joint, so that's half. So if you think back to this idea of 50, 30, 20, half is going into the joint. So that's all my housing, my bills, everything like that. I then have 20% for debt repayment. So if I did, I'm really terrible at math. So I think that's $200. Wait. Yeah, $200. Okay, so I could put $200 towards that. Okay, and then 1,000. So basically I have 300, 250. Okay, so maybe I put in, if I'm doing savings of 30%, that would technically be $300, but I have other bills and stuff to pay. So you can kind of play around with the numbers a little bit in terms of what's going where. And I always leave some personal money. So what I've been doing lately is based on the budget that I have going for myself, I have $85 a week that I could pay myself and have each week. So, if it's going out to eat on my lunch breaks or buying makeup or buying clothes, what I did was I changed that to $75 a week so that I'd have $40 a week to put into my RSP. Okay. So that kind of gives me a little bit of buffer as well. So say one month I just have a lot more expenses or things going on, I still have an extra $40 that I could potentially have on hand to use towards, if there's an emergency or anything like that. And then what I do is, so every single day, I keep track of how much of that I've spent. So say for 7 days, I have $75 over those 7 days. That's about $10.70 a day. So I write down in my agenda, like on the first day, I have $10.70. If I don't pay anything, the next day I have double that. If I don't use any of that, I have triple that. And then if I use any of that money, I keep track of where I'm at. At the end of each week, I alternate between putting money on my Visa and putting money into my RSP, okay, or into savings. So whatever I have, like one week, I didn't spend any money, so I put an extra $75 onto my Visa. Okay, so it was actually really motivating to see that money start to add up and being like, I don't want to spend anything because I want to see how much money I can save and put either into savings or onto my Visa. So far this week, I'm going to probably spend that entire $75. I had things I needed to buy. I have a massage appointment, stuff like that. So hopefully the next week I can be back on track of putting away again that $75. So I do have savings that I'm putting away every single month. I actually have a goal of saving $5,000 this year. So I kept track of all. I double paid one month, but that's okay. I keep track of all the paychecks that I get. And each paycheck, I put $192 straight into my savings account. So as soon as I get paid, I sit down, I say half of my money goes into the joint account. I have 192 that goes into my savings. I have so much money each week that's mine to spend. I have my two main bills that I have are my cell phone bill and my insurance. So I pay personal liability insurance each month, and so I have those two main bills. and that's it. Everything else I can then pay towards my visa, and then I can put into my savings. So as much as I want to pay my visa off as fast as possible, it's also very important for me to have cash on hand. So right now, like I have actually more than this. This is just what I've been saving this year. But so far I've saved $579 just this year. Okay. So it's really important if you do have goals that you keep track of them. And I actually get super excited on paydays now because it's like, okay, like where is my money going to go? How am I going to utilize this most effectively to save money, to pay off bills, all that kind of things. And having it in a spreadsheet like this, obviously I can see my bank account when I log in, but I can quickly open, I just save this. You can save it to your bookmarks bar as a link, just so it's quick and easy. Mine I usually just leave open as a tab, so it's always open, and I can quickly go in and kind of make sure I'm staying on track. So I've almost become obsessed with this spreadsheet in terms of like looking at it multiple times a day. What I do to keep track kind of like every day, I'll explain this complete button or complete column in a second. So obviously I'd start with the date. So it's February 8th. Say my starting balance is $1,000. And then I would leave that line as it is. So say today, I'm still at $1,000. I'm buying groceries. So I just write groceries. I keep track of my personal and, I was keeping track of my personal and my joint account in one spreadsheet. And it got very complicated very quickly. So when you're using a spreadsheet, whether you use, and I'll keep the templates in the hub so you can at least download what I use and kind of get a sense of where to start. I honestly, month to month, change my spreadsheet. So it really just depends on as you're growing and evolving and doing this and what makes sense. It made sense for me to start with everything on one spreadsheet just so it was all in one place. And for January, I realized that was crazy. So I split them into two, but I follow the same format. So that's why you'll see personal at the top, but you could just change this to like whatever you wanted to call it. So say I spent $100 on groceries. Now my personal balance is $900. Okay. I keep track of my RSP. I guess I could probably change this. Whoops, I'm still getting used to there we go. I'm using a regular keyboard on a Mac and it's a little bit confusing sometimes. So say today I also wanted to transfer some money over into my savings. So if you wanted to, you could change this to $900, just so you know where you're starting at. It's totally up to you how much information you want to put into your spreadsheet. But I would highly suggest that this personal balance column is always correct. So at least you could even highlight this column. You could make it like a different color. You can make it like teal or something, so you know like this is the amount of money that I have going on. Okay, so say money to savings. Okay, so maybe you're moving from your personal account. You had $50 extra this week that you wanted to move aside. Okay, so now this balance is $850. Say your personal balance was $0, so you're starting fresh. Okay, you now have $50 in your savings. Okay, and your saving balance is $50. Okay, same thing if you wanted to move money to RSP. Say you want to move $50. I'm just doing easy increments because I'm really bad at math. Okay, so now your RSP balance. So say same thing is $50. You're starting from scratch. All right. So these balance columns, so this one, so G, I, and J should always reflect what's in your account. I mean, mine doesn't because I had money in my savings already, but that's the amount of money that should be there. Everything else I just kind of consider as like bonus money, I guess, until I decide what to do with it. What I also do is, so my payday is this Thursday. Okay, so I know I'm getting paid. So say I get paid $1,000. Okay, what I do then is I break this down. Okay, so I would then say, you know, like joint gets so much money, Visa gets so much money. I don't know why. Oh, that's because I deleted some stuff earlier for the template. Okay. What else? Like cell bill, and then so on, so on, so on. And then I would know, so my joint is getting, this is $500. This, I think we decided, was $200. This was $50. So those can go straight into, oh yeah, and then you would move them all into those accounts. So this is gonna go straight into my joint. So I would say I would add this all in first. So I started with $1,000. Okay, so now I have $1,800. Okay, now I've taken $500 and moved it into my joint account. So I have $1,300. Okay. Now I've paid $200. So I have $1,100, and this would make it $1,050. Okay, so that's the total that I have. My personal balance now is $1,050. All right, and then you can break that down even more. So maybe you take over 2 weeks, I give myself $150. All right, you could either, it's kind of hard right now because no one's really dealing with cash. So what I usually do is I keep that kind of in my head. You could even, actually, I color it a different color. Okay, so it's kind of like, hey, like this money's coming out, but it hasn't come out yet. And then say like tomorrow, like I don't know if I'd even take it out of this personal account yet. It's up to you. You could also put that in purple. So you could do 1050 minus 150 is 900. That was probably easier than I need it. Okay, so by the end of 2 weeks, I would have $900, right? And then say on February 12th, I spent, say I went to Starbucks and I bought a drink for $5. Okay, so now this, you could modify that. So it really depends how you feel comfortable keeping track of everything. Whether you just want to have a separate column. So you'd say I have $150, you know, maybe you left this as it is. And the money that you're spending from this $150, you could have it in another column over here, right? Starbucks, or sorry, the 12th, Starbucks, and then $5. Okay, you could even have, say, your starting amount here. You could have it that there's a value here so that you'd have a starting amount, and every time you entered your bill here, it would show you the final total here if you didn't want to do that yourself. So it's up to you. I'll try to figure out again how to do the sums. I used to be really, really good at it. So there's a few different options that you could potentially take in keeping track of that kind of variable expenses that you have going on. Okay. Yeah, so I would highly suggest doing your budget breakdown first. So again, you want to start with like 50% of your money is going into your non-variables, okay? 30% is going towards savings and variable expenses, and then 20% is going towards debt repayment, okay? If you don't have debt repayment, again, you can split that 20 into 10 or however you wanted to kind of spread that amongst your other expenses and savings that you have going on. I would highly suggest having some kind of goal financially, whether that's paying off your debt, whether that's saving a certain amount of money, and make it reasonable. So what I did, I took 5,000 and divided it by 26. So that's how many paychecks I get per month or per year. And it was 100, just over 192. It's like 192.30. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to put away each month. But I also know, or sorry, every paycheck. So that's almost $400, right? So every paycheck, I know that I'm putting that money away. So I do have almost $400 kind of in cash that I could be either putting towards something else. Okay, so try not to lock up all of your money into saving or into RSPs, especially, or into debt repayment, just because you do want to have some cash on hand to be able to pay for, life things that come up. Last year we had to buy new snow tires. That was like $800 a pop, right? So having some cash on hand for things like that, so you don't have to add it to, your credit debt, is very beneficial. Okay. I will post these templates in the hub. If you do have any specific questions about the worksheets, please, please, please reach out. If I can answer them quickly, that's awesome. If you want to book like a 1-hour session with me to help you with your budget, completely confidential, I will help you as much as I can in terms of helping you set up your budget and helping you kind of figure out what your money goal will be. If you are struggling with a debt, I highly suggest talking to your bank about a consolidation loan. I did one a few years back, and it was amazing. It made like one easy monthly payment. I didn't have to worry about. I had like multiple credit cards, and not like it wasn't crazy, but I was spending so much money in interest. It wasn't really making as much of a impact when I made my payments because it was like spread out everywhere. I had a line of credit from like doing my yoga training. I had just had things kind of everywhere. So they take all of your debts and put them into one, and then you have one monthly low payment. And then what we did is when our mortgage term came up, we remortgaged and took some money and paid off our debts. And because rates had gone down, our payments were actually less on our mortgage and we'd paid off our debt. So we were able to kind of like sock away some more money into savings. So if you're struggling, don't be embarrassed by it. Like, life happens. We often don't get taught about money management in school as much as we should. So honestly, if you are struggling or you just need like someone to talk to, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to kind of give you an ear or a shoulder and try to send you in the right direction. I can't solve your problems, but I'm definitely here to support you in making the right decision, or a decision that works best for you in terms of thinking forward. So if you think you're doing okay now, it's always best to try to put yourself in the shoes you'll have in a couple years. Like, where do you want to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Especially if you're looking to buy property, it's really great just to have money in the bank. So I would highly suggest trying to get kind of things organized and set into motion if these are bigger goals you have in the future. So next week's meeting is going to be on Tuesday. Hey, it's the day after Family Day in BC. So hopefully you'll be all ready to go for another coaching call. So next week, we're going to talk about tips for sticking to new habits. We'll talk about how, like, whatever it is, whether it's like you're trying to stay on your finances, you're wanting to go back to school, whatever it is that your new habit is going to be, whether you want to do like a 30-day yoga challenge or a 30-day writing challenge or whatever it is, we'll talk about some tips of how to stay on track and stay motivated so you reach those goals. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to reach out to me, info@yogaforthat.com, or reach out to me however you contact me normally. Be happy to help you out with a lot of these things. Again, this video will be up forever. So if you're not a member yet, or you become a member just for February, this one you'll still have access to in the Facebook group and just on my YouTube channel. So if you don't want to be in the group or anything like that, you'll still be able to access it. Have an awesome rest of your week. It's supposed to be really cold. It was snowing at some point today, so stay warm, stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.